Hello, my name is Duncan Adams. Today's date is Thursday, October 28th, 2021. Was there a second ambulance that carried JFK at Bethesda Naval Hospital? Now I'm going to recant for you a encounter I had and the situation surrounding that, dealing with that title that I just gave. Now, take this for fun. Look at it as a couple of guys talking about a situation over a bottle of beer. Please don't pick apart any of the finer points. I may misspeak on certain definitions of individuals or pieces of property, things of that nature. Anything like that will be inconsequential to this, but I will be as specific as I can to the important facts here. Okay? All right. Okay. Was there a second ambulance on the JFK? Now, what has spurred me to do this is here lately there has been talk about when President Trump was going to release all the CIA documents on JFK and decided not to, and then President Biden came up and was going to do it, and he decided not to do it either. And I got thinking back about a situation I ran into, so I went out on the net and started looking around for a couple of things. I punched in JFK's ambulance. And let me get the right one up here. And try not to kill any dead air. There, this is the one I want. I saw that the ambulance that carried JFK got sold at auction. I didn't know about that. So I got thinking, all right, that doesn't look familiar to me. Well, why would it look familiar to me? All right. Little house cleaning here. Some years ago, when we lived in Arizona, we used to go up to the historic Route 66 fun run. There was a car show associated with that, along with, a weekend of old classic cars driving from Arizona over into California, etc. ad nauseum, and we enjoyed it greatly. One time when I was up there at the car show, we took our car and entered it into the car show. While we were there walking around, enjoying all the old classic cars, I came across this ambulance that I found was interesting. And the guy was there, and we talked a little bit and so on and so forth, and okay, fine. Having a good time, go on about our business. Well, a few years later, we went up to the car show, and I am sorry I do not remember how many years after 1993 it was. I think like 4 or 6 years later, and I thought, hey, I wonder if that guy still got the ambulance. So I looked around, and I believe this is an old Buick. I looked around for that old ambulance, and I could not find it. But I did find another ambulance up there, and it was a military ambulance. Now, I'm going to put up a photo that is not his ambulance, but from my best memory, it's similar to it as far as the body shape. And I specifically remember everything having radiuses to it. It was rounded. It was an older style ambulance. And as I was recanting that, after looking at this photo, I'm going, I don't think that was the same ambulance. Now, could I be misremembering? And this guy did fix up an ambulance and sell it as that, but then I got thinking, no, he never said it was JFK's ambulance. But this is what he did tell me as I was up there. I asked him about it, kind of the gearhead thing, where did you get it and all this, and he started telling me the story. And again, if memory serves, he lived up in Clark County around Vegas, up in Clark County, Las Vegas area. And he had a friend on the county commissioners or board of commissioners or whatever, and there was some kind of land swap that went on. And he came to him and said, hey, I know you restore cars and so forth. Would you be interested in this old car? We swapped some land with the federal government, and we got to get that cleared off. They were going to make a park out of it or reclaim it or whatever. I don't remember. And he goes, I don't know. I got rid of that air ambulance, and I don't know if blah, blah, blah. What do you got up there? Well, it's an ambulance. Well, how much? And he told him, he said, we got to get it off there, but I can't give it to you. Make us an offer, anything. And I think he offered him $200 or $400. And the county commissioners took it. So he went up there with a tilt bed, and the brakes were frozen, and the tires were flat, and it sunk into the desert a little bit, and it had been sitting up there for decades. So they drug it up on the tilt bed, and he took it home and started working on it. And then he got thinking about, well, where's this thing from? So he did some investigation on it. Now, if memory serves, it was manufactured, and I can't remember the name of the company, but I do remember him saying it was over in Ohio. And there is a Coachworks, or was a Coachworks factory over in Ohio that did a bunch of ambulance retrofits and other things of that nature. So he got a hold of them, and they and gave them the VIN number or whatever, and they said, yeah, we did that. And if I remember correctly, the manual he showed me, I think they even had an old manual that he bought off of them on how they retrofitted it and all that. So it got his interest up a little bit more. Now, I cannot remember if he called the Department of Defense or if he called the FBI, but he called a government agency. And he said, hey, what's the history on this thing? Well, they got back to him. And the meat of it is, they said, well, that was decommissioned in blah, blah, blah year. Okay, fine. Where was it at, or what was it used at? The only thing they would verify with him as to its prominence was that it was in service on the day that JFK's corpse came into Bethesda, Maryland. He goes, ooh, neat. Well, when I was there, he let me get in it. And it sticks in my mind that I had to, when I got in it, I had to duck my head a little bit. And the opening of this door that you're seeing here seems to be reminiscent in my memory. So I got in and I looked around a little bit and I go, hey, well, where did you dig up all the gurney and the oxygen tank and, the artifacts in here? I go, you must have spent some money to find it. Looks authentic. He goes, oh no, that was in there when I got it. So I sit down on the gurney and I'm talking to him. And I'm saying, are you telling me? And he stopped me. He goes, I am not telling you this handled Kennedy. I am telling you that they have proven to me that it was on duty and on station the day he came through. Okay. Now, another thing that's stuck in my mind with this is, if you will look here at my cursor, I remember the font that was spray painted onto the ambulance of being this style font. An older, like World War II Korean era type font that you may see on different still pictures and movies. That stuck in my mind greatly. I remember that. I thought it was on the rear quarter panel. I have not seen any photos out there where it show any military ambulances with that on it, but I don't know why that sticks on my mind. Perhaps it was on the door, and as I say, it was over 2 decades ago I was up there. But I specifically remember this font, and I remember the radiuses on the bodywork being rounded, not so much as the square depictions that you see with the one that got, if I can find it, with the one that went through auction. And there's some other pictures out there with it, such as this, where, yeah, there's somewhat of a radius, but I just do not remember this rear quarter panel having that hard edge, as it were, from the models of vehicles going into the 60s. So, what is all that worth? Well, really not much. It's a human interest story. So, he recanted all that. He had some paperwork on it. He was talking all about it. And then I go, well, you said there was a land swap. Why was this out in the desert? He said, well, they decommissioned it, and in whatever manner, they hauled it out to the Nevada desert. And I go, well, where was this land swap at? What was the big gig on that? You know, what makes it, you know, what's so special with that? The land swap was some area that the federal government wanted that was either close to or adjacent to Area 50, or that they wanted to get rid of. They wanted some other land that the county had, and the land that they wanted to swap with the county was adjacent or close to Area 51. So, this is all that he could attest to about that ambulance. It was at Bethesda. When Kennedy came through, they decommissioned it, and they hauled it out to Area 51 and parked it. They didn't do anything to it. They left the gurney, the oxygen tank, and I think there may have been some other artifact in there with it. And they left it, and he got a hold of it. Now, what is all that worth? Nothing. But it's very interesting. So, can I say that I sat on the gurney that Kennedy was hauled in? I don't know. But it sure does make the imagination wonder as to why they wanted to haul that thing all the way out into the desert and abandon it for decades. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the story.